I used to think marriage was a team sport. Turns out I was the mascot, entertaining, mostly ignored, and easily replaceable. My name is Nick Fenwick, and I'm 33 years old. I manage IT projects for a financial firm in downtown Boston, which means I spend my days explaining to executives why their brilliant ideas won't work, and my evenings pretending my wife Erica's PR agency stories are fascinating. Tonight was different. Tonight, Erica decided to come clean. "Nick, we need to talk," she said, setting down her wine glass on our granite kitchen counter. The condo we'd bought 6 months ago still smelled like fresh paint and broken dreams. I looked up from my laptop. "Sure, what's up?" She fidgeted with her wedding ring, never a good sign. "I made a mistake. A big one." "Okay." I closed the laptop and gave her my full attention. "How big?" "I kissed someone." The words hung in the air like smoke. I felt that familiar tightness in my chest, the same feeling I got when a project was about to crash and burn. "Who?" Austin Drake." Of course, it was Austin. Her personal trainer, the guy with the Instagram account full of shirtless gym photos and motivational quotes about living your truth. The guy who looked like he'd been carved from marble by someone with daddy issues. "Just a kiss?" I asked. Erica's face crumpled. "No. Nick, I'm so sorry. It's been going on for 3 months." 3 months. While I'd been working 60-hour weeks to pay for this condo, she'd been working out with Austin in ways that definitely weren't covered by our gym membership. "Show me," I said. "What?" "Your phone. Show me the messages." Her hands shook as she unlocked it. The conversation thread with Austin was a masterpiece of modern infidelity. Gym selfies, heart emojis, and messages that made my stomach turn. "Can't wait to see you tonight," and "Nick's working late again," and "You make me feel alive." I scrolled through weeks of evidence, my face expressionless. Erica watched me like someone waiting for a verdict. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I never meant for this to happen." I stood up and walked to the drawer where we kept important documents. Birth certificates, insurance papers, and 2 non-refundable tickets to Paris I'd bought for our anniversary next month. I placed the tickets on the counter between us. $2,000, I said. Non-refundable. "Nick, please." I pulled out the lighter we used for candles and flicked it open. The flame danced between us. "Wait, what are you doing?" "Making a point. Before we deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories." I held the flame to the corner of the first ticket. It caught immediately, curling and blackening. Erica lunged forward, but I held up my other hand. "Don't." The first ticket crumbled to ash. I lit the second one. "Nick, stop. We can still go. We can work this out." "Can we?" I let the burning ticket fall into the sink. Because 3 months says otherwise. I pulled out my phone and started recording. "Say it again." "What?" "Tell me you're sorry. Tell me about Austin. All of it." I can't. Not while you're filming. Then we have nothing to talk about." She looked at the ashes in the sink, then at my phone. Her PR training kicked in. She knew how to handle a crisis, even if she'd created this one. "I'm sorry, Nick. I had an affair with Austin Drake. It lasted 3 months, and I betrayed our marriage. I take full responsibility." I stopped recording and immediately opened my contacts. My thumb hovered over the share button. "What are you doing?" "Sending this to your mom." "No, please." Too late. I'd already hit send. But not just to her mother. In my haste, I'd selected her entire contact list. Friends, co-workers, clients, everyone. "Oops," I said. Fat fingers. Erica's phone started buzzing immediately. Text after text, call after call. Her face went white as she read the notifications. "You didn't." "I did." Her best friend Tasha was the first to call. Erica answered with shaking hands. "Tasha, I can explain." She listened for a moment, then hung up. "She's coming over," Erica said. "Great. I'll be at Jay's." I grabbed my jacket and headed for the door. Behind me, Erica's phone continued its electronic symphony of social destruction. "This isn't over," she called after me. "You're right," I said without turning around. "It's just getting started." Jay's bar was exactly what you'd expect from a place called Murphy's. Dim lighting, sticky floors, and the kind of regulars who treated personal drama like spectator sport. Jay himself was behind the bar, a guy who'd been my best friend since college and looked like he'd been born to pour drinks and dispense questionable advice. "You look like someone pissed in your coffee," he said as I slumped onto a bar stool. "Worse, someone pissed in my marriage." I told him everything. The confession, the tickets, the video. Jay listened without interruption, occasionally refilling my glass. So you accidentally sent a video of your wife confessing to an affair to everyone she knows? Accidentally. Right. Jay grinned. Accidentally on purpose. It was a mistake. Sure it was. The same kind of mistake that wins wars. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. This is Mrs. Carmichael. We need to talk. I'm at your apartment with Austin. I showed Jay the message. Erica's mother? The one and only. And Austin's there too? Apparently. Jay whistled low. You know what this means? That I'm about to get lectured by a woman who thinks I'm not good enough for her daughter? No, it means you're winning. The ride back to my condo felt like driving toward a hurricane. My phone hadn't stopped buzzing. Texts from coworkers, missed calls from numbers I didn't recognize, and a voicemail from my own mother that I wasn't ready to hear. The elevator to the 15th floor moved like molasses. When the doors opened, I could hear voices through my apartment door, Erica's mother's shrill tone cutting through the walls like a chainsaw. I took a deep breath and walked in. Mrs. Carmichael stood in my living room like she owned it, all 5 feet of her radiating disapproval. She wore the kind of outfit that cost more than most people's rent in the expression of someone who just stepped in something unpleasant. Austin sat on my couch, looking like a kicked puppy. Up close, he was smaller than his Instagram photos suggested, all angles and nervous energy. His perfectly styled hair was mussed, and his usually pristine gym clothes looked slept in. Erica paced by the windows, her phone clutched in her white-knuckled grip. "Nicholas," Mrs. Carmichael said, managing to make my name sound like an accusation. "Mrs. Carmichael, Austin." I nodded at each of them. "Lovely evening, isn't it?" "Don't you dare act casual," she snapped. "Do you have any idea what you've done? Enlighten me. You've humiliated my daughter, publicly. Her career could be ruined." I glanced at Erica, who was staring at her phone like it might explode. "How's that going, by the way? The career thing?" 3 clients called to cancel, she whispered. "The Morrison account wants a meeting tomorrow to discuss the situation." "The situation," I repeated. "Is that what we're calling it?" Austin finally spoke up. "Look, man, this got out of hand. Maybe we can work something out?" "Work something out?" I laughed. "Like what? A threesome?" Mrs. Carmichael gasped. "How dare you?" "How dare I? Your daughter spent 3 months lying to my face while she played house with Captain America here, and you want to know how I dare?" "You had no right to share that video," Austin said, standing up. He was taller than me, broader, but something in my expression made him sit back down. "Actually, I had every right. It's my phone, my video, and my wife confessing to adultery. Pretty sure that falls under fair use." My phone buzzed with a text, then another. I glanced at the screen and couldn't help but smile. "What now?" Erica asked. "Liv wants to meet." "Who's Liv?" "Austin's ex-girlfriend. Apparently she has some interesting stories to share." Austin went pale. "You can't trust her. She's crazy." "Crazy enough to lie about you cheating on her, too?" The room went quiet, except for the sound of Erica's sharp intake of breath. "You cheated on Liv?" she asked Austin. "That's not... It's complicated." "Complicated," I said. "Seems to be going around." Mrs. Carmichael stepped between us like a referee. "This is exactly the kind of childish behavior I'd expect from you, Nicholas. My daughter made a mistake, but destroying her reputation won't solve anything." "You're right," I said. "It won't solve anything, but it sure makes me feel better." Erica looked up from her phone, tears streaming down her face. "Tasha posted screenshots in our group chat. Everyone's talking about us." "What kind of screenshots?" She showed me her phone. The group chat was a feeding frenzy of gossip and speculation. Messages like, "Did you know about this?" And "I always thought something was off." And "Remember when she said Nick was boring in bed?" That last one stung, but I kept my expression neutral. "Interesting," I said. "Anything else?" "They're calling me names. Horrible names." "What kind of names?" Austin shifted uncomfortably. "Maybe we should go." "No," I said. "I want to hear this. What kind of names are they calling you, Erica?" She couldn't meet my eyes. "It doesn't matter." "It matters to me." Mrs. Carmichael stepped forward. "They're calling her a cheater and a liar. Are you happy now?" "Getting there." My phone rang. Jay's number. "Excuse me," I said, answering. "What's up?" "Turn on Channel 7, he said. "Why?" "Just do it." I grabbed the remote and flicked on the TV. The local news was running a story about social media and infidelity, and there on the screen was a blurred screenshot of Erica's confession video. In an age where private moments can become public scandals with the touch of a button, the anchor was saying. One Boston couple's marital problems have become a cautionary tale about digital privacy. Erica sank into a chair. Oh, God. They're not using names, I said. Yet. Austin stood up again. This is insane. I'm leaving. Good idea, I said. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. He headed for the door, then turned back. This isn't over. You're right. It's not. After Austin left, Mrs. Carmichael spent another 20 minutes lecturing me about forgiveness and Christian values and the importance of family reputation. I nodded and made appropriate noises while mentally calculating how much money Erica had access to in our joint accounts. The answer was more than I was comfortable with. After they left, I sat alone in my condo and opened my laptop. Time to do some damage control of my own. First, I changed all the passwords on our joint accounts. Then I transferred the money from our shared savings into my personal checking account. Money I'd earned, money that was legally mine. Then I called Liv. Is this Nick? She answered on the first ring. Yeah, you said you had stories. Honey, do I ever? Can you meet tomorrow? Where? The Starbucks on Newbury Street. Noon. I'll be there. Nick? Yeah? I'm sorry this happened to you, but I'm not sorry it's happening to them. After hanging up, I poured myself a drink and sat on my balcony overlooking the city. Somewhere out there, Erica was probably crying into her pillow. Austin was probably deleting his social media accounts. Mrs. Carmichael was probably calling her lawyer. And I was probably just getting started. Liv turned out to be everything Austin's Instagram wasn't. Real, sharp, and angry in all the right ways. She was waiting for me at Starbucks with a folder thick enough to choke a horse and the kind of smile that made me understand why Austin had been stupid enough to cheat on her. Nick? She stood up as I approached. You look exactly like your LinkedIn photo. Is that good or bad? Better than Austin's dating profile. He's been using photos from 2018. We sat down, and she slid the folder across the table. 3 years of lies, documented and cross-referenced. I'm a paralegal. I know how to build a case. I opened the folder. Screenshots, printed emails, bank statements, and what looked like a timeline written in different colored pens. This is... comprehensive? I prefer thorough. She sipped her latte. Austin has a type. Married women with money and low self-esteem. Your wife wasn't his first. How many others? That I know of? 4. That I suspect? At least 6. I flipped through the documents. Names, dates, locations. Austin had been busier than a politician during election season. Why didn't you expose him before? Who would believe me? Crazy ex-girlfriend versus Instagram fitness god. Please. She leaned forward. But now he's messed with the wrong guy. What makes me different? You have evidence. And more importantly, you have nothing left to lose. She was right about that. What do you want in return? Front row seats to his downfall, and maybe a reference for my law school applications. Deal. We spent the next hour going through Austin's greatest hits. The married real estate agent who'd bought him a car, the divorced teacher who'd paid for his personal training certification, the city councilwoman who'd gotten him a job at the upscale gym where he'd met Erica. He's got a system, Liv explained. Find them at their lowest point, build them up, make them feel special, then drain their bank accounts while he finds the next target. And Erica? Textbook case, new marriage, demanding job, husband who works too much. She was perfect. My phone buzzed with a text from Erica. We need to talk. Can you come home? I showed Liv the message. Don't, she said. Not yet. You need to hit Austin first while he's vulnerable. What did you have in mind? She smiled, and I finally understood why Austin had been afraid of her. Ever been to Peak Performance Gym? Peak Performance was the kind of place where people paid $200 a month to be judged by 20-somethings with perfect abs and daddy issues. Austin's kingdom, where he held court among the treadmills and taught spinning classes to housewives who hung on his every word. Liv and I arrived at 5 p.m., right in the middle of Austin's signature Core Blast class. Through the glass windows, we could see him leading a room full of sweaty disciples through what looked like organized torture. He's got a break in 10 minutes, Liv said. That's when he checks his social media. We'd spent the afternoon crafting the perfect social media campaign. Nothing illegal, nothing that couldn't be traced back to public records and Austin's own posts. Just the truth, presented in the most unflattering way possible. Ready? Liv asked, finger hovering over her phone. Do it. She hit send, and Austin's Instagram account was flooded with comments. Screenshots of his messages to married women, links to court records from his bankruptcy 3 years ago, photos of the car he'd claimed to buy himself, registered to his ex-girlfriend before Liv. Through the window, we watched Austin's class end. He grabbed his phone, and his face went through a rainbow of emotions: confusion, anger, panic, and finally, recognition. He looked up and saw us watching through the glass. "He's coming out," Liv said. Austin burst through the gym doors like an angry bull. "What the hell did you do?" "Nothing you didn't do first," I said. "You can't prove any of that." "Actually, I can." I held up my phone. "Liv's very thorough." He turned to her. "You crazy." "Careful," I interrupted. "We're in public. Lots of witnesses." Austin looked around. Half the gym was watching us through the windows, phones out, probably recording. His perfect image was cracking in real time. "This is harassment," he said. "No," I replied. "This is consequences." "You want to play games?" Austin stepped closer. "I know things about your wife you don't." "Like what?" "Like how she really feels about you, like what she says when you're not around." "Tell me." Austin smiled, thinking he'd found my weak spot. "She says you're boring, predictable, that being married to you is like being married to a spreadsheet." The words hit exactly where he'd aimed them, but instead of anger, I felt something else: relief. "Is that all?" His smile faltered. "What? Is that the best you've got? That my cheating wife thinks I'm boring?" I laughed. "Austin, she's been lying to me for 3 months. Why would I believe anything she says now?" I pulled out my phone and started recording. "Say it again. Tell everyone how my wife really feels about me." "Stop recording." "Why? Afraid of the truth?" Austin lunged for my phone. I stepped back, and he stumbled forward, tripping over his own feet and landing face first on the sidewalk. His perfectly styled hair was now decorated with city grime, and his designer workout clothes were torn. The crowd of gym members pressed against the windows, recording everything. "Oops," I said. "Careful there, champ. Wouldn't want to damage that pretty face." Austin got to his feet, his cheeks red with embarrassment and anger. "You'll pay for this." "Put it on my tab." As he stormed back into the gym, Liv turned to me with admiration. "That was beautiful." That was just the opening act. We walked to Austin's car, a leased BMW that screamed, "I'm compensating for something." I pulled a small bottle from my pocket. "What's that?" Liv asked. "Fish sauce. Jay gave it to me. Apparently it's great for pranks." I popped the hood and poured the sauce over the engine block and into the air conditioning intake. The smell would take weeks to get out, assuming Austin could figure out where it was coming from. "You're evil," Liv said. "I like that." "I'm just getting started." My phone rang as we walked away. Erica's number. "Where are you?" she demanded. "Out." "Why?" "Austin called. He says you attacked him." Attacked is a strong word. I'd say I witnessed a tragic gym accident. "This has to stop, Nick. We need to talk like adults." "Adults don't have 3-month affairs, Erica." "I made a mistake." "You made a choice. Multiple choices. For 3 months." The line went quiet, except for the sound of her breathing. "Come home," she said finally. "Please. I am home. This is my life now." I hung up and turned to Liv. "Ready for phase 2? "What's phase 2? "We're going to a party." The party was Erica's company's monthly networking event, the kind of stuffy affair where people in expensive suits pretended to care about each other's business cards while drinking wine that cost more than most people's grocery budget. Normally, I'd skip these events, claiming work or a headache or any excuse that would keep me away from 2 hours of forced small talk. But tonight was different. Tonight, I had a purpose. Liv had cleaned up nicely, professional dress, minimal makeup, the kind of look that said, "I belong here," without trying too hard. She'd also brought props. "You sure about this?" she asked as we approached the hotel ballroom. "Absolutely not, but we're doing it anyway." The party was in full swing when we arrived. Erica was across the room, working the crowd with the kind of desperate energy that screamed, "Please don't fire me." She hadn't seen us yet. "There's her boss," I said, pointing to a tall man with silver hair and the predatory smile of someone who'd climbed the corporate ladder by stepping on faces. "Mr. Phelps?" "The one and only. He's old school, thinks scandal is bad for business." We made our way through the crowd, stopping to chat with people I recognized from previous events. Everyone was polite, but I could see the questions in their eyes. Word travels fast in Boston's professional circles. "Nick," Erica's voice cut through the ambient noise. She was heading straight for us, her smile bright and brittle as glass. "What are you doing here?" "Supporting your career," I said. Isn't that what husbands do? Her eyes flicked to Liv. And you are? Olivia Chen, Liv said, extending her hand. I work with Nick's company on some consulting projects. The lie rolled off her tongue like honey. Erica shook her hand, but I could see the suspicion building behind her eyes. How nice, Erica said. Nick, could I speak with you privately? Actually, we were just about to talk to Mr. Phelps, I said. Liv has some interesting insights about social media crisis management. Before Erica could object, I was steering Liv toward her boss. Behind us, I could hear Erica's heels clicking on the marble floor as she followed. Mr. Phelps, I said, extending my hand. Nick Fenwick. We met at the Christmas party. Of course, Erica's husband. How are things in the tech world? Busy. This is Olivia Chen. She specializes in digital reputation management. Liv smiled and shook his hand. Actually, I've been following your company's recent challenges with interest. Challenges? The social media situation with one of your account managers. It's a fascinating case study in how personal scandals can impact corporate brands. Mr. Phelps's smile flickered. I'm not sure I follow. Liv pulled out her phone. Well, when an employee's personal life becomes public in a negative way, it can reflect poorly on their employer. For instance, if a client saw this, she showed him a screenshot of the local news story about Erica's confession video. His face went pale. Where did you get this? It's public record now, Liv said. The story's been picked up by 3 local news outlets and shared thousands of times on social media. Erica appeared beside us, her face flushed. Mr. Phelps, I can explain. Explain what, exactly? He looked between Erica and the phone screen. That you've turned our company into a laughingstock? It's not that bad, Erica said desperately. It'll blow over. Will it? Liv asked innocently. Because I noticed the Morrison Group issued a statement this afternoon distancing themselves from the situation. That was news to me, but Erica's expression confirmed it was true. Mr. Phelps pulled Erica aside, his voice low but urgent. I couldn't hear the words, but the body language was clear. She was getting fired. That was cold, I whispered to Liv. That was justice, she whispered back. Across the room, I spotted a familiar figure near the bar. Austin, dressed in a suit that probably cost more than my car, working the crowd like he belonged here. What's he doing here? Liv followed my gaze. Damage control. He's probably trying to spin this as your fault. We watched as Austin chatted with a group of women, his charm offensive in full swing. Even from across the room, I could see the way he leaned in, the practiced gestures, the $1,000,000 smile. Want to crash his party? Liv asked. Absolutely. We made our way through the crowd, timing our approach for maximum impact. Austin was in the middle of what looked like a well-rehearsed story when we appeared beside him. Austin, I said loudly enough for everyone to hear. Fancy seeing you here. His face went through the same emotional journey it had at the gym, confusion, recognition, panic. Nick, I didn't expect to see you. I bet you didn't. I turned to the women he'd been talking to. Ladies, has Austin told you about his business model? Business model? One of them asked. Oh yes, he's quite the entrepreneur. He specializes in personal training for married women. Very personal training. Austin's smile was starting to crack. Nick, maybe we should... Did he show you his success stories? I pulled out my phone. Liv here has a whole portfolio. Liv stepped forward with her folder. Would you like to see some testimonials from his previous clients? The women looked confused but interested. Nothing draws a crowd like the promise of scandal. This is harassment, Austin said, but his voice lacked conviction. This is transparency, I replied. These ladies deserve to know what they're getting into. One of the women, a brunette with sharp eyes and expensive jewelry, stepped closer. What kind of testimonials? Liv opened her folder. Well, there's Jennifer from Beacon Hill. She paid for Austin's certification courses. And Michelle from Cambridge. She bought him a car. And Rebecca from... Stop, Austin said, but it was too late. The women were already looking at him with new understanding. You're a gigolo, the brunette said. I'm a personal trainer. Who sleeps with married clients for money? I finished. Don't forget that part. Austin looked around the circle of faces, all of them now hostile. His perfect image was crumbling in real time, just like at the gym. This is all lies, he said desperately. Is it? I held up my phone, showing the screen to everyone around us. Because your Instagram tells a different story. The crowd pressed closer, phones appearing like magic. Austin was trapped in a circle of judgment, his every word being recorded and analyzed. I think I need some air, he said, pushing through the crowd. Good idea, I called after him. Fresh air helps with the smell. As Austin fled toward the exit, I felt a hand on my arm. Erica, her face streaked with tears and makeup. "Are you happy now?" she hissed. "I lost my job. My reputation is ruined. Was it worth it?" I looked at her, really looked at her for the first time in months. The woman I'd married, the woman I'd loved, the woman who'd spent 3 months lying to my face. "Ask me tomorrow," I said. The courthouse steps were slick with morning rain, and I was running on 3 hours of sleep and spite. Mrs. Carmichael stood at the top of the stairs like a general preparing for battle, flanked by a woman in a power suit who could only be Erica's lawyer. Jay stood beside me holding an umbrella and a thermos of coffee that smelled like salvation. "You sure about this?" he asked for the 10th time. "Nope, but I'm doing it anyway." The lawyer, Ms. Tan, according to the business card she'd handed me, was everything you'd expect from someone who specialized in high-conflict divorces. Sharp suit, sharper eyes, and the kind of smile that could cut glass. "Mr. Fenwick," she said, extending her hand. "I represent your wife in this matter." "What matter would that be?" "The intentional infliction of emotional distress you've caused through your malicious campaign of harassment and public humiliation." I almost laughed. "That's what we're calling it?" "We're prepared to file suit unless you agree to our terms immediately." She handed me a document thick enough to stop a bullet. I flipped through it, my eyes catching phrases like cease and desist and financial compensation and public apology. "Let me get this straight," I said. "Your client cheats on me for 3 months, lies to my face, steals from our joint accounts, and now she wants me to pay her for the privilege? Your wife made a mistake. My wife made a choice, multiple choices, for 93 days. Ms. Tan's expression didn't change. "Regardless of the marital issues, your response has been disproportionate and legally actionable." "Has it?" I pulled out my phone and opened the voice recording app. Say that again, the part about it being legally actionable. "Stop recording." "Why? This is a public place. I have every right to record our conversation." Mrs. Carmichael stepped forward. "Nicholas, this is your chance to do the right thing. End this madness and try to save your marriage." "Save my marriage?" I looked between them. To the woman who's been lying to me for 3 months. The woman who called me boring and predictable and compared being married to me to being married to a spreadsheet. She was hurt and angry. She was honest. For once. A small crowd was starting to gather. People walking by, drawn by the drama playing out on the courthouse steps. I could see phones appearing, the modern audience settling in for the show. "Mr. Fenwick," Ms. Tan said, her voice taking on a warning tone, "my client has been subjected to public humiliation, loss of employment, and severe emotional distress as a direct result of your actions. Your client subjected herself to public humiliation when she decided to cheat on her husband and document it in text messages. The video you shared was obtained without consent. The video I shared was of my own wife, recorded on my own phone, confessing to adultery in my own home. Pretty sure that's admissible in court." I could see the uncertainty creeping into Ms. Tan's eyes. She'd expected me to fold, to be intimidated by the legal threats and formal documents. "Furthermore," I continued, "every piece of information that's become public was either shared by Erica herself, posted on social media by Austin, or compiled from public records. Nothing illegal, nothing stolen, nothing that wasn't already out there for anyone to find. The emotional impact is not my responsibility. My wife's emotions stopped being my problem when she decided to have an affair." My phone buzzed with a text from Liv. "Check Austin's Instagram, now." I opened the app and nearly laughed out loud. Austin had posted a long, rambling statement about false accusations and jealous exes and moving forward with positivity. The comments section was a war zone. "Actually," I said, showing the phone to Ms. Tan, "you might want to advise your client to distance herself from Mr. Drake. He's not helping her case." As if summoned by his name, Austin appeared at the bottom of the courthouse steps. He looked like he'd slept in his car. Wrinkled clothes, unshaven face, the kind of desperate energy that comes from watching your life fall apart in real time. "Nick," he called out, jogging up the steps. "We need to talk." "Do we?" "This has gone too far. People are calling my gym, posting fake reviews, harassing my clients. You have to make it stop." "I have to?" "You started this." "I started this?" I looked around at the growing crowd of spectators. I started this by getting married, by working 60-hour weeks to pay for a condo, by trusting my wife. Austin reached the top of the steps, breathing hard. "You're destroying innocent people." "Innocent people?" I laughed. "Austin, you've been running a scam for 3 years, targeting married women, taking their money, ruining their marriages. The only innocent person here is me. That's not true, isn't it? I pulled out Liv's folder, now expanded with additional research. Jennifer Morrison, divorced after her husband found out about the car she bought you. Michelle Chen lost her house in the settlement when her husband discovered the credit cards. Rebecca Walsh, stop. Committed suicide last year after her marriage fell apart. The crowd went silent. Even the traffic noise seemed to fade. That wasn't my fault, Austin said, but his voice was barely a whisper. Wasn't it? Ms. Tan stepped between us. This is exactly the kind of harassment we're talking about. Mr. Fenwick, you're creating a public spectacle. I'm creating accountability. I looked around at the crowd, at the phones recording everything, at the reporters who'd started to gather at the edge of the scene. Ladies and gentlemen, I said, raising my voice, 3 months ago I thought I had a marriage. Turns out I had a business arrangement. My wife provided companionship and social status, and I provided financial security and a convenient cover story for her affair. Nick, don't, Erica said, appearing beside her mother. She looked terrible, pale, thin, like she hadn't slept in days. Don't what? Tell the truth? Isn't that what got us here in the first place? Your inability to tell the truth? I made a mistake. You made a choice. I turned to address the crowd again. She made a choice every day for 3 months. Every morning when she kissed me goodbye. Every evening when she asked about my day. Every night when she lay beside me, knowing where she'd been and who she'd been with. The crowd was completely silent now, hanging on every word. So when her lawyer talks about emotional distress and public humiliation, remember this. I didn't humiliate her. She humiliated herself. I just made sure everyone could see it. Erica was crying now, but I felt nothing. No sympathy, no regret, no desire to comfort her. The truth isn't harassment, I continued. The truth isn't legally actionable. The truth is just the truth, and sometimes the truth hurts. I handed the legal documents back to Ms. Tan. File your lawsuit. I'll be happy to present my evidence in court. All of it. Under oath. On the record. Her face went pale. Mr. Fenwick, we're done here. I turned and walked down the courthouse steps, Jay beside me. Behind us, I could hear the crowd dispersing, the reporters asking questions, the sound of Erica's sobs echoing off the stone walls. That was intense, Jay said as we reached the street. That was necessary. My phone was buzzing with notifications, texts, calls, social media alerts. The video was already online, shared and reshared across platforms. What now? Jay asked. Now we go home. Your home or my bar? I thought about the empty condo, the silence, the memories of a marriage that had never really existed. Your bar. Definitely your bar. But as we walked away, I couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't over. Erica was desperate, Austin was cornered, and desperate people do desperate things. I was about to find out just how desperate. The call came at 2 a.m. My building's security system, triggered by someone trying to bypass the front door locks. I watched the security feed on my phone as 3 figures made their way through the lobby. Erica, Austin, and Tasha, moving like thieves in the night. They thought I was asleep. They thought I was helpless. They thought wrong. I'd been expecting this. Desperate people do desperate things, and Erica was nothing if not desperate. Her job was gone, her reputation was in ruins, and her mother had stopped taking her calls after the courthouse incident went viral. I activated the building's silent alarm and settled in to watch the show. They made it to my floor without triggering any additional sensors. Erica still had her key, and she knew the building's security patterns. What she didn't know was that I'd changed the locks 3 days ago. I watched through the peephole as they stood in the hallway, Erica fumbling with her keys, Austin looking over his shoulder like a nervous criminal, and Tasha holding what looked like empty boxes. It's not working, Erica whispered. Try the other key, Tasha said. I am trying the other key. Austin stepped closer to the door. Maybe he changed them. He wouldn't do that. This is my home too. Is it? I said, opening the door. All 3 of them jumped like they'd been electrocuted. Erica dropped her keys, Austin stumbled backward, and Tasha nearly dropped her boxes. Nick, Erica said, her voice an octave higher than usual. You scared us. Did I? What are you doing here at 2 a.m? I came to get some of my things. At 2 a.m? I didn't want to disturb you. I looked at Austin and Tasha. And you brought backup? They're just helping me carry boxes. How thoughtful. I stepped aside. Come on in. Let's see what you're planning to take. They filed past me into the condo, their movements awkward and guilty. I closed the door behind them and engaged the deadbolt. Actually, I said, I'm curious about something. Tasha, what's in the boxes? She looked at Erica, then at Austin, then back at me. Nothing. They're empty. Empty boxes. For Erica's things. Right. Things like what? Erica stepped forward. My clothes, my jewelry, my personal items. Your personal items. I walked to the kitchen counter where I'd laid out several documents. Like these? I held up bank statements, credit card bills, and receipts. Joint account withdrawals, cash advances, transfers to Austin's account. Funny thing about personal items, they usually don't involve embezzling $12,000 from your husband. The room went dead quiet. That's not embezzling, Austin said. That's marital assets. Is it? Because according to these documents, the money was transferred to your personal account. Not Erica's, yours. Austin's face flushed. She gave me that money. She gave you my money, without my knowledge or consent. That's theft. You can't prove intent, Erica said, but her voice was shaking. Can't I? I pulled out my phone and opened a voice recording. Let's see what you really came here for. I hit play, and their voices filled the room, recorded from the hallway, crystal clear. Are you sure he keeps the cash in the bedroom safe? Positive. He showed me the combination when we bought the condo. What about the investment documents? Those too. Everything we need to clean him out. I stopped the recording. Funny definition of personal items. Erica's face had gone white. You were recording us? The building's security system records everything. I just happened to be listening. Austin stepped toward me. You set us up. I gave you rope. You chose to hang yourselves with it. Tasha backed toward the door. I'm leaving. No, I said, still holding my phone. You're staying. All of you. I opened the building's security app and triggered the lockdown protocol, a feature designed to trap intruders until police arrived. The deadbolt engaged with a loud click. What did you do? Erica demanded. Building security. Nobody leaves until this is resolved. Austin tried the door handle. It didn't budge. This is false imprisonment, Erica said. This is citizen's arrest. You just confessed to planning theft and burglary. I opened my social media accounts and started a live stream. Within seconds, viewers were joining. Friends, neighbors, strangers drawn by the drama. Good evening, everyone, I said to the camera. Welcome to the final episode of My Marriage, Her Secrets. Tonight's special guests are my cheating wife, her boyfriend, and their accomplice, caught red-handed attempting to rob my home. Turn that off, Austin said. Why? Afraid of a little transparency? The viewer count was climbing rapidly. Comments started flooding in. Is this really happening? Call the police. Team Nick all the way. This is insane. Erica lunged for my phone. No, stop this. I stepped back, keeping the camera rolling. And there's my lovely wife, trying to destroy evidence. Say hello to the internet, Erica. She froze, realizing that thousands of people were now watching her every move. Please, she whispered, turn it off. The same way you turned off your conscience when you decided to cheat on me? Austin moved closer, his hands clenched into fists. Enough. Or what? You'll hit me, on camera, in front of 10,000 witnesses? He stopped, realizing the trap he'd walked into. That's what I thought. I turned back to the camera. Folks, what we have here is a classic case of consequences meeting actions. For 3 months, these people thought they were smarter than me. Tonight, they found out different. The comments were a mix of support and disbelief. This is better than Netflix. Someone call the cops. Nick is savage. Team Erica, this is cruel. She deserved it. Sirens wailed in the distance, growing closer. Sounds like security called the police, I said. Right on schedule. Erica slumped against the wall, tears streaming down her face. Why are you doing this to me? I'm not doing anything to you. You did this to yourself. I made a mistake. You made a choice, and then you made another choice, and another. For 93 days, you chose to lie to me, to cheat on me, to steal from me. Tonight, you chose to break into my home and try to rob me. The sirens were right outside now. Every choice has consequences, Erica. You just never thought you'd have to face them. Heavy footsteps echoed in the hallway outside. A knock on the door. Boston Police, open up. I ended the live stream and opened the door. 3 officers stood in the hallway, hands on their weapons. Someone reported a break-in, the lead officer said. That was me, I replied. These 3 people attempted to burglarize my home. I have video evidence and recorded confessions. The next hour was a blur of statements, evidence collection, and paperwork. The officers reviewed the security footage, listened to the recordings, and examined the financial documents. Erica, Austin, and Tasha were arrested on charges of attempted burglary, conspiracy, and theft. As they were led away in handcuffs, Erica looked back at me one last time. "I loved you," she said. "No," I replied. "You loved what I could give you. There's a difference." After everyone left, I stood alone in my condo, surrounded by the debris of a marriage that had never really existed. My phone was buzzing with messages, reporters, friends, strangers who'd watched the live stream. I poured myself a drink and sat on my balcony, looking out at the city lights. Somewhere out there, Erica was sitting in a jail cell, probably wondering how it had all gone so wrong. The answer was simple. It had gone wrong the moment she decided to cheat. Everything else was just consequences. I raised my glass to the city, to the night, to the future I was finally free to build. To new beginnings, I said to no one in particular, and for the first time in months, I smiled and meant it. The story was over. My story was just beginning.